Hi there, you're watching Time Warner Cable's local edition, the Sacramento Report. I'm Jaime Garza, and I'm joined today by Assemblymember Curt Hagman. Always good to have you here.
Great to be here, Jaime.
Very interesting topic today. We all buy CDs, we all buy DVDs, but how do you know if they're counterfeit or not? That's a real big problem. Steals a lot of money out of the industry, and the tough part is enforcement. Yet there are ways to actually track down these forgeries, which, when you and I were talking, is just really fascinating. Fill us in on this.
Yes, large manufacturing operations where you do thousands or tens of thousands of DVDs or CDs, there's a type of equipment that you buy. Now, the legitimate manufacturers have to put a laser code on who manufactures it so you can actually track these things down. The counterfeits don't. So the law enforcement wants the tools to go in and be able to match up the counterfeits with the machine that's made so they go after the people who are doing the counterfeits. What they don't know is like every machine is almost like you hear about rifling on a gun that has a particular forensic science to it. These machines actually has a forensic fingerprint as well. So even if they don't put on the laser code, if they're legitimately building, copying or manufacturing these things for the artists, there's a way that scientists could go in there and find out and match up a counterfeit with the machine.
I haven't seen one of these programs on television to have this yet. Maybe after they hear you, we're going to have one of those episodes. But most of these forged DVD CDs are manufactured in California.
Yeah, which is surprising. We always hear about China or overseas, problems of counterfeiting. Most of the ones that turn up, at least in the United States, the majority of them come from California through illegal manufacturing plants.
Get back to the forensic for just 1 second. Every machine that's used gives some sort of an imprint or some kind of a marking that can track it back, you said, right?
Correct.
All right, that sounds simple enough, but how do you go through the process, and aren't some people possibly not in favor of that?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I co-authored a bill with Senator Padilla to allow a very narrow bit of investigator law enforcement. So not the average cop in the street or whatever. These are ones tasked with finding counterfeit intellectual property to go in and get a sample DVD or CD where the manufacturers are. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like their forensics fingerprint. Okay. So it's kind of like a gun manufacturer takes a shot and gets a rifling off a bullet. They have one on file. So now if counterfeits turn up, they could try to match them up and go back to the source.
And we know pirating costs us, what, tens if not hundreds of millions of dollars, and
just
even more.
This untaxed income to the state of California, much less the artists who are losing out those royalties.
Right. That's one interesting topic. Here's another interesting topic. There was a push at one point to have all of the fake weapons, if you will, for like paintball and things like that to be painted orange. And that went to defeat. Why?
Well, we defeated that in committee last week. It was a bill that was sponsored to make all weapons that were firing projectiles but not regular guns. So paintballs, simunitions, the plastic BBs, the regular BB guns, those type of things to be painted orange. So it was sponsored by LAPD chief so his officers could tell the difference between a real gun and a fake gun, because a lot of these simunition guns look very much, you can't tell the difference side by side from a real gun. That part makes sense. The other part that wasn't told was there is already orange manufactured real firearms. So law enforcement may give them a false sense of security if they see a person with an orange gun and not do the regular protocol that you may have to do with a suspect with a weapon. Please put your weapon down, and all those different kind of commands they give. You don't want that hesitation, because then the suspect, if it is a real firearm, could turn around and shoot the officer as well. So it was a public safety aspect from both sides. Most of the law enforcement throughout California, the police chiefs, sheriffs, were opposed to the bill.
And what's to prevent you from spraying your gun orange when it is a real gun and then confusing the officers that way? I just found that to be very interesting, but again, make it very clear that's not going to happen.
Correct.
That went to defeat down in committee. All right, thank you very much. As always, Curt Hagman, good to have you here, and nice to have you at home watching Time Warner Cable's local edition of the Sacramento Report as well. Have a good one.